Thanks to Health Canada's quiet regulatory changes, lab-grown cloned meat is coming to a grocery store near you, and it's all being done without your knowledge or consent. Let's dig in. If you've been following Health Canada's latest food experiments, you may have noticed a new buzzword creeping into the regulatory landscape. It's called cellular agriculture, which sounds harmless enough, but what does it actually mean? According to Health Canada, this umbrella term covers everything from meat, seafood, eggs, and milk products that are produced without raising a single live animal. These are tissues grown through what they're calling cell culture methods, also known as lab-grown. Here's how it works. Scientists take cultivated animal cells, often muscle fiber from the desired species, for instance, chicken. They isolate those cells, place them into what is essentially a glorified petri dish, and grow them under what regulators refer to as controlled culture conditions until they form whatever tissue they're aiming for. And once that tissue is grown, well, Health Canada says it can be baked, grilled, fried, or folded into your dinner, just like any other food ingredient. Now, under normal circumstances, anything this experimental would fall under Canada's novel foods category, meaning it must undergo a thorough pre-market safety assessment. Developers are supposed to present detailed data on their production methods, potential contaminants, allergens, toxins, and nutritional composition. Health Canada says these reviews typically take about 410 days. But on November 13th, they quietly released a statement that after reviewing what they call all available information, Health Canada's scientific opinion is that foods derived from healthy cattle and swine, that's pig clones, and their offspring are as safe as foods from traditionally bred animals. That's a pretty big declaration, and it raises a lot of questions about how these emerging food technologies are being evaluated and how quickly they're being ushered into Canada's food supply. Sylvain Charlebois, the director of the Agri-Food Analytics Lab at Dalhousie University, joined the Food Professor podcast a few weeks ago to break down what's really behind Health Canada's labeling discrepancy. Listen to this.
You want to design the best animal and increase productivity, increase quality, and of course, reduce production costs. It's very natural. The thing about technologies across the food supply chain over the years is that we've seen benefits given to the industry. But when it comes to the till, when it comes to the consumer paying for that food, there's never any obvious financial benefits for the consumer. If you start labeling, you completely change the rules. Because if all of a sudden you have, clone meat at $10 and regular meat at $10, most people will take the regular meat. But if your clone meat, because it costs less, is $7 or $6, my bet is that a lot of people would consider it,
Yeah. As you always say, let the people decide.
Let the people decide. Power to the people.
Power to the people.
Except there's no power to the people when they're not being properly informed. And that's exactly where we are right now. Health Canada has decided there's no meaningful difference between lab-grown cloned meat and real life-grown meat. So no labels, no warnings, and once again, no transparency from the agency allegedly dedicated to regulatory openness and transparency. And now even major producers are pushing back. Du Breton, one of Canada's largest organic pork companies, is publicly demanding that Health Canada allow voluntary labels for cloned meat. CEO Vincent Breton is quoted as saying, "There's nothing wrong with innovation in food production, but never at the expense of an honest food system. Consumers should have the right to decide for themselves whether they want to buy genetically modified foods." But this isn't just about convenience and cost. There are serious moral, ethical, and religious concerns surrounding cloned meat. Concerns that deserve far more respect than they're being given. Instead, we're watching this global campaign against real, natural food advance in the shadows, dressed up with buzzwords like innovation and climate action, all while the simple truth is ignored. There's no food shortage that justifies replacing real meat, and this isn't a response to a necessity, it's a coordinated push towards things like bugs, lab-grown proteins, and synthetic substitutes, all while pretending it's for your own good. The very least, the bare minimum would be to label the packaging and let the consumers know and decide what they're actually putting into their bodies and on their tables. But nope, the expectation is simple. Eat the cloned meat, don't ask questions. And if health issues show up down the road, well, we know how that goes. They'll blame meat in general, not the artificial petri dish product that replaced it. It sounds like if you haven't already, it's time to get to know your local farmer. For Rebel News, I'm Tamara Ugolini. The globalists want to abandon our reliable fossil fuel energy system and transition to green energy, and that's just the beginning. Because if you thought your dinner plate was safe from government experiments, think again. Health Canada is quietly rolling out lab-grown meat, milk, and eggs, and most Canadians aren't on board with it. If you agree, sign our petition and make sure you never miss a report at nogreenreset.com. That's nogreenreset.com.